This episode of The Patch is sponsored by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere, on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Support this podcast and get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus when you go to huluplus.com/patch. That's huluplus.com/patch.
This episode of The Patch is brought to you by ProFlowers.com. Get 1 dozen long-stem assorted roses with a premium vase and gourmet chocolates for $29.99. Click the blue microphone at ProFlowers.com and type in code TEETH. Use the microphone and the code TEETH at ProFlowers.com. The Patch.
Hey, it's The Patch.
This week, featuring Helicopter.
With Helicopter.
It's
Shut
really
up
loud.
just in time.
That's my favorite commentator.
Showed up right at 4. So we got Gus, Burnie,
Banana.
Jack, Ryan.
Jack and Ryan.
And
There
Gus.
you go, guys.
You sound the same.
You are welcome.
For the audio listeners,
Do I have to do that? Yeah, never mind. Yeah.
they're fine.
Gus here's a government agency. He gets a little flustered.
Yeah, what's going on?
It's immigration.
So last week I wasn't here on The Patch because I was out in Vegas attending the DICE Summit.
Brag about it.
Yeah, way to go.
Which is like a big industry video game summit.
How do you
wait a minute.
how do you think?
Oh, thank you.
We got to
How
flip
do you
the thing.
think DICE
we go.
rates in the overall industry convention meetup space?
I think it's probably like the most respected one.
More so than
Oh, wow,
GDC.
I think so.
Okay.
It's a lot more intimate. You know, there's not multiple sessions going on. It's like there is one session you go to and
So you're
everyone
saying
sits in there.
like Dice is here and then Spike would be
God.
no?
And then they have an award show that they cap off the show with, which is probably it's an industry run award show, so it's not like VGX.
I think DICE, more so than anyone else, is hitting the sweet spot between the industry, which seems to be inaccessible the way GDC is. Like, a lot of people don't really pay that close attention to GDC except for announcements. And it hits that sweet spot between the industry and the high-level enthusiasts. Whereas I think, like PAX and RTX do a great job with the consumer-level enthusiasts.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's an unusual place because there are so many, really respected people from the video game industry there. And I had something really embarrassing happen to me.
All right.
And I have to lead the patch with it. It is video game related. So the morning session on the first day was presented by the CEO of CCP, who make EVE Online. His name was Hilmar.
That was 3
Hilmar something.
I couldn't even finish that sentence. There were so many the word I can't remember.
I'm disappointed the CEO doesn't have a middle initial in front of his name.
He probably does. His name's like Hilmar something. He's from Iceland. The dude looks like a Viking.
Does he?
Yeah, it's like you look at him, you're like, wow, I can picture this dude.
I
in
mean,
a
did he have like
longship.
the horned Elmer
raiding.
Fudd helmet and everything? Or whoops, sorry.
But so he gave a presentation in the morning. Then when it's lunchtime, there's like a buffet that they set out. You go, you serve your plate, and it's like a bunch of tables, and you figure out where you want to go sit. So
Wait. What's in the buffet?
what was
Yeah,
what
what'd you
was it
have?
that? It was actually terrible that day.
Was there
It was
shrimp?
like an eggplant sandwich,
what?
a chicken panini.
This is not buffet food.
Rice.
I take
it
back
was
everything I
This
said
is
about
prison
DICE.
food.
terrible. So I make my plate, and it's like high school. You're like, oh, where am I going to sit? And I see the CEO from CCP sitting at a table. I'm like, oh, I had some questions for him about his presentation from the morning. I'm going to go sit with him.
I want to point out at this point that Gus is a representative of our company at this event. So I'm now cringing.
I walk up, and the table's like only half full. Most of the tables are like jam packed. This one, there's only like the Hilmar, and then like 3 or 4 other people. I'm like, that's weird. So I walk up and I sit down, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I join you guys? And I look up, and the guy directly across from me is Mike Morhaime, the CEO and co-founder of Blizzard.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And I look to his left, and it's like another like senior vice president at Blizzard. I'm like, oh. And I look to the other side, and it's another senior person at Blizzard. Everyone at that table was a senior person at Blizzard, and Hilmar was like, oh. Hey, what's up? I was like, I must have got like the hearts over my head. I was like, how you guys doing?
The amazing thing to me is that you actually recognized all these people on site.
Well, like at first I definitely recognized Mike Morhaime, and then the other people have badges with your name.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh, I know that name. So I had a very awkward lunch where I was the meekest I think I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me, honestly, like you interrupted some high-level meeting between the guys at EVE and potentially their new partner, Blizzard.
That's what I
The
started
new
thinking. I was
crossover.
like, oops. So
the new WoW expansion is
first.
actually.
Unless part of that buffet was an NDA, I think you're good. I think you just broke a story. You're a big leak now.
But it was really great to sit down and talk with them. I did get to talk with Hilmar about the things that I want to talk about. He talked about the.
By the way, if
big
any of us
battle
did what
in
you
Eve.
just did, you'd be so mad at us for eating a banana on mic.
Fuck it. Patrick will edit it out. He talked in his presentation about the steep learning curve. I think he called it the learning cliff of EVE Online. and how it's a really difficult game to get into and to start with because there's so much going on. He says, they've tried to work on it over the years, and he says he just doesn't know how they can make it any more accessible. So now what they've started doing is they're releasing other games set in the EVE universe, and all the games interact together in the same universe.
They're releasing starter games for EVE Online?
Not
I
necessarily.
think it's a brilliant idea.
That is a really good idea.
They're working on an Oculus Rift game
Flappy Eve.
called Valkyrie.
Right. Yeah,
which is, you put on the Oculus and you're like piloting a spaceship. So that's a lot more like fighter spaceship simulator.
So you immediately hate it.
Yes, absolutely.
Just to be clear.
And they also had an FPS they released called Dust, which is an FPS set in that same universe. So theoretically, you could be like a Marine, FPS style, fighting on a ground of a planet, and a spaceship in EVE Online could bombard you in real time and kill you, even though you're playing two totally separate
This
games.
sounds
That's pretty amazing.
remarkably ambitious to have something like this.
I mean, it's no reroll, but it's up there.
They're already rolling it out.
They're going to have drones on other planets. So we have actual geography all laid out. Now, that kind of, though, reminds me, though, is like one thing you and I have always liked is the idea of people having a different gameplay experience. There was what was the Counter-Strike mod from all those years ago? It was called Natural Selection. Natural Selection, where we played it just recently. Actually, I played it last year.
Natural Selection 2 came out.
That's what it was. And so it's like where one person plays as a type of gameplay. Like in the first Natural Selection, the alien side was more of an RTS.
Yes,
feeling.
if you were the alien commander.
If you were the commander, you got in the pod and all that. And even Battlefield had a lot of that stuff where you could get in the command trailer, basically, and you would go out with the drones and all that stuff, and you could command it. We like different types of play within the same game. And there's a game that's now about to come out called Evolve, where they're embracing that, where it's still a boss versus, like a Left 4 Dead style 4-person party, and they're all, I assume, FPS. But one person is playing a huge boss, and the other people are playing 4 individual people in a party, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I think so. They released a cinematic trailer, as well as and then Joystick did a video preview where they played the game, and we'll link both of those in the patch notes so you can see it. It looks really cool. They also have one of the best logo designs ever.
So you read the article by Greg Casavin.
I didn't read that.
Did you? Oh, he went nuts for the logo. He did a whole breakdown of the logo.
It's so great.
It's a great logo. It really is.
But yeah, it's made by Turtle Rock Studios, so the people who developed the original Left 4 Dead, in conjunction with Valve, and now they're doing this game. What, you have a quizzical look on your face?
I'm a big, huge fan of the Left 4 Dead series. I didn't know that Left 4 Dead was ever developed by an outside studio, except for ports.
When it was first announced, it was announced as a game by Turtle Rock, and then Valve was very interested in it. So I think they co-developed it and brought those guys in to help them finish the game.
I always thought Left 4 Dead was spawned from a Counter-Strike mod where they would spawn tons and tons of bots, and that people kept playing that game over and over again. Of playing that.
I don't remember, yeah.
I thought I remember reading a story about that. I'll look it up that I'm just going to paraphrase my own memory at this point, which is always a bad idea.
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to Evolve.
Yeah, it's really great. I think they said it's going to come out later this year, by the end of the year.
And it makes sense. I was feeling like I shouldn't make comparisons to Left 4 Dead, even though it felt that way when I saw the cinematic trailer. It had definitely like that kind of feel to it for the 4-person party. But now it makes sense because if they're the team that helped initially develop the Left 4 Dead concept.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically it's like Left 4 Dead multiplayer, only you only spawn a tank. Is kind of how it sort of looks like. But I'm hoping that
super tank.
It's huge.
Yeah, I'm hoping it is really huge.
It's
I want
monstrous.
something like Shadow of the Colossus versus little peons. That's what I'm hoping.
If you watch the the video preview that Joystick did, you can get a sense for the scale of the size difference. It's not like Shadow of the Colossus huge, but it's significantly larger.
They'll still make for
players.
a fun Let's Play.
They also talk about the different capabilities. So each of the different 4 players is a different class,
right?
And they all have unique abilities specific to the class. One of the more interesting ones I thought was the medic had a sniper rifle and can create weak points on the boss.
Huh.
So it's like you can the sniper rifle can target an area, then make that area more susceptible to damage than other areas. So then everyone else will try to target that specific part of the giant monster.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I would always like to see, they have such great characters in Left 4 Dead. I would love to see those characters carry a little bit of difference into the gameplay. I mean, it's like, I don't even know if the hitboxes are different for any of those characters in Left 4 Dead 2. You doubt it?
I would think Coach has a slightly bigger one.
Slightly bigger than Rochelle, right?
Yeah, it's not like they're
so
shooting
too.
at him either. I mean, it's punching, so.
Right, if they get close to you. But,
Yeah, I mean,
if
just
a
swinging in
smoker
general.
can, tag your big fat body as close to your, very svelte Depeche Mode wearing body, then you're okay. You know, you have a little advantage playing Rochelle. But I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, thank God I got Rochelle because I'll have a smaller hitbox." I've never heard that before.
Well, thank God I got Rochelle. I can wear the Depeche Mode shirt.
which was one of the awards that they gave away for Xbox Live achievements, where
My avatar wore that forever.
you wore a Depeche Mode shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I forget what it was for. Maybe finishing all 4 campaigns.
Maybe.
I'll figure it out. But the my favorite was the gnome that you got too, even though it was a prop. And I wish more developers had embraced or would going forward embrace achievements that give you something you can put on your avatar so you can show it off a little
But
bit.
you really don't have an avatar
It's pretty
anymore.
much gone for
No, you
Xbox One.
You have a gamer pick that you make from your avatar.
It's not animated any longer.
It is
though.
not animated anymore. Like I don't know how props would fit in, but you
and
could include it in your
There's not a way
snapshot.
to look at your friends list, though. I think they're adding a friends app as
Yes.
part of the update. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
More than anything,
yeah.
I'm happy they're adding a fucking battery indicator
Yeah.
for the controller.
More than anything, that's what you're happy
Last
about?
night, I was sitting down to play
No,
play
it's pretty
Assassin's
good.
Creed 4, to turn my Xbox on, turn my controller on, and it stopped responding. We're like, oh, it turned off. Turned it on again. It turned off.
Yeah, there's no
Oh,
warning.
I have no fucking AA batteries in my entire goddamn house. Guess what? I was just going to sit down and play my game. Now I got to go to the fucking store.
Oh, really? Yeah, I have the play and charge kit, so I don't worry about that all that much.
Bullshit.
I can just plug the bad boy
So
in.
angry.
Get
So
the
angry.
play and charge. It's a little micro USB cable.
It's definitely worth it. It's,
Okay.
I mean, there's no reason to stick with AA batteries. You'll just kill yourself. with
I
those
will
things.
say this about the Xbox One controller is that when it dies, it's not fucking around. It's like the Xbox 360 one. It would go controller, reconnect
Yeah.
the controller would come up. And you're like, I got another 2 hours for this thing.
Yeah.
Doing
Or it
that.
would start like making the spiral.
You got the ring. Yeah.
And you knew that it was going to die in a couple of days.
now you got nothing. How did they not think of that at all?
You just that's the criticism of the Xbox One
Pretty much.
dashboard experience in general. It's like I was in there the other day and I was like, I got into movies in the store and I'm like, how do I get back and go to games? And I couldn't do it. And I mean, I gotta say, I am equally frustrated, not equally, but I'm also frustrated with the PS4 store because I was pointing out to Ashley the other day. It's like I went into games. I forget what I was going to download, but I was going to download some game. I went into games, and it does the breakout of the titles to the right as you go down the left column. It breaks out everything on the right. The first thing it shows me in games is a movie, like as a special offer. And it's like, I shouldn't see movies when I go into games.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, I get you guys want us to use these as media devices, but we're already all doing that anyway. I mean, like the 360, whenever I looked at my friends list, it was like 90% Netflix by the end of the cycle, except when a major game came out. A lot of people were using it. You don't need to push it on us, you know? We're going to do it anyway.
We know it's there.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it for the casual person who's not jumping in. But they should know that. They should know that.
Right.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna step back here for a second.
Before you get to that, I always feel like I'm humbled a little bit because you guys always come here with all this technology. Like you got this iPad mini here, you got a phone and a laptop. So today I came prepared.
All right. What do you got?
Yeah.
Props. I didn't.
Hey, look at
This
this.
is from the desk of Eli Haywood, my son. Is an iPad. And if you're playing the home game and you can't see what I'm holding in my hand, it's a very fancy case from the lovely people at Fisher and Price, who
make EVE Online.
really
Hold it up to
nice
the camera.
things. Yeah. So thank you, Eli. You especially enjoy this part on the patch. I'll do that right into the mic. There we go.
They make an iPad case
They
by
make an
Fisher
iPad
Price.
case, yep.
That's brilliant.
Are
There we
these
go.
like legs?
Oh, yeah.
Man,
oh,
it's actually an iPad. I thought you were
it's- no,
joking.
it is
No.
seriously an iPad.
Wow.
I'm just gonna play Elmo here while we're.
Can I ask you a question?
Well,
Do
what's
you
up?
have Flappy Bird installed on
I
that?
do not have Flappy Bird. Now I'm gonna have to go to eBay and pay $5,000 to get it. I guess.
Did you ever install it on any of your iOS
No,
devices?
but it doesn't matter for you don't have to do it iOS. If you do it on Android, you can just download the APK file.
Well, no,
People
my
still
point
have
was
it.
if you had done it on any iOS device, you could get on your account and still get it
Oh, really?
from your download history. I
Okay.
think they have to do
Yeah.
that. Even though
Yeah.
it's a free download, it still has to be made available.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
should we talk about that?
yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk
So
about Flappy Bird.
Flappy
Nice
Bird's
case, by
gone.
the way. Now
Thank
I
you.
feel like I have to
This
step up
thing
my
is
game.
great. Like he can do anything to it. It doesn't break.
Wow. It's got two different locks.
It does. It is safe.
Okay.
You know,
if you
this
saw what my
portion of
son
the podcast
tried to
brought to
do
you by
to this,
Fisher Price.
Yeah, there you go, Fisher Price. There's your shout out.
I feel like compelled to test what you just said about he could do anything to it, but I know no matter what I could do to it,
Yeah.
could not be worse than what a young child could do to it. So
Yeah, the
I'm
only
sure that
vulnerable
has,
part is the screen. Really, this is just like a thin piece of plastic.
Yeah.
But it will hold up to banana. He's tested that anyway. So yeah, it's that's
I love it.
my contribution to technology on the podcast
I
now.
absolutely love it.
So Flappy Bird is dead.
Yeah,
Not dead.
Goodbye,
It's
Flappy
dead.
Bird.
The guy said he's too scared of people getting addicted to his game.
That's like the latest round of why he said he took the game
Yeah.
down. And did you guys read the big Giant Bomb article about empathy in the internet culture?
No.
It's been making the rounds. I think it's a pretty well written article. It's about just what happens when you become the target of the mob mentality. And it's like even the positive stuff can be over the top, ridiculous. And that they were just, and then I think it was somebody else, I want to say Business Week, but I'm not going to get that right.
It was Business Insider.
Business Insider, thank you, who went through the whole history of the guy's tweets of making what was called Flap Flap. Then he had to change the name from Flap Flap to Flappy Bird. He was disappointed by that. And then the slow progression of him slowly coming to hate his own game.
Yeah.
And basically like reevaluating his life via the success he was enjoying from Flappy Bird.
That attention, any kind of attention on the internet brings a lot of not just positive, but very negative reinforcement. I mean, there's a lot of people that are quick to tell you you're a terrible person, no matter what you've done. No matter how simple and easy, they're going to find something and come at you for it.
And the Giant Bomb article was very in-depth, and I thought a great analysis of it, but I had to go a step further reading the Giant Bomb article. Sure enough, I look at the screenshots of, they had a screenshot of all these tweets to him. So I thought, I'm now going to go look at the usernames for those people and see what their mentions are like. And like the first tweet was that I saw on everyone was someone telling them to kill themselves because they were mentioned. So now it's like even people who read the article, that's how they must get these people's names, are like, you're a loser, you should just kill yourself. And it's interesting to see those people's reactions now that they're being held up as the example of hate and lack of empathy.
Who knew that Business Insider readers would be such unsympathetic trolls going after...
This was a Giant Bomb article. This wasn't Business Week or Business Insider that was going after those guys. But no, it's absolutely true. And then what can this guy do when faced with that? I was thinking about us, and we get we could share some of the stories we get, but over the years we've gotten crazy the stuff over the top positive, which is really bizarre. I showed Gus one, I think it's been a while now, so I think I could talk about it. There was a kid who wanted me to adopt him.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Wow.
It was a teenage kid, and he was very adamant about it. And it basically boiled down to he has friends at school, but they also have other friends, and he didn't like that. And also his parents don't let him play Call of Duty sometimes. And I was like, you're asking a guy you don't know to adopt you. It's like, if I read that as a dad, I would be just mortified and humiliated. It's just I don't think people realize the impact of stuff that they're putting out there.
Absolutely.
And likewise, if we get pounded with go kill yourself, even broadcasting that is a terrible thing. If you were to take a tweet where someone was saying, you've had some horrible people come at you. We don't even talk about these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, some really bad stuff.
You don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. And if you were to rebroadcast that stuff, and it would almost be it would seem like if you said, oh, well, I hope that somebody will read this and, karma will come get you, or somebody who follows me will come at you. That would seem horribly irresponsible for you to do that. It would seem like, Gus, you're putting the internet against this one guy. But really, that's what people who create on the internet deal with on a regular basis. If Gus doing that is something that is irresponsible, it's the same thing as saying, well, people who make threats on the internet don't mean anything. Well, if that's the case, then we should be able to hold up anybody to the internet and say, go get this guy, because everyone's harmless on the internet, right? But you don't know that. It's it's just this constant barrage of all this stuff coming in. And when you have something that has 60 million downloads, it's a level that I can't even imagine.
Especially if it's just one guy.
He was up to making, what, 50,000 a day is what they're saying? I mean, that's...
it's really hard to extrapolate.
Yeah.
That actually leads into something else I want to talk about later in the patch. But I think in that Business Insider article, or maybe it was Forbes, they said that they estimated that he was up to $100,000 a day now.
Oh, my gosh.
Because the ads are still on there. And then with all this other positive attention, well, not positive, with all this other attention he's gotten, it's helped it reach a critical mass before he pulled it.
Which I'd like to point out that Gus was actually playing Flappy Birds moments before we started the patch.
High score.
And
I
got a new high score.
Yeah.
30.
Congratulations on
Well,
your 30.
I'm going to load it up right now because I
scared?
do have it on my new... Now it's going to be a $150,000 phone according to eBay.
Yeah, I
Now
can't
that I
believe
have
that
Flappy
became
Bird
a market.
No one actually bought that.
One of them had a bid.
Yeah, but
One of the
they
eBay.
back out.
Somebody.
It's like when we talked about in the patch a couple weeks ago when they were auctioning off the World Championship Series NES cartridge, and it went for $100,000. And the bidder's like, nah, it was just a joke.
I have been playing Flappy Bird for a good solid week and a half, 2 weeks. I was kind of a late.
That's right. Score report. At the end, you said
I'm not,
last batch.
I'm not doing it.
No?
I'm not doing
All
it.
right.
But I have never seen the ads that I'm seeing today after Flappy Bird has supposedly been killed.
There were new ads today. I noticed that as well.
Amazon and Google are now advertising on Flappy Bird. And they were not there the last week and a half, 2 weeks.
There was another new one I saw right before the patch. I was going to mention.
I saw a
can't remember what
Randall's
it was.
ad, which I don't know if you have those in your part of the world, but they're a grocery store.
Yeah, it's
where
like
we are.
It's what Safeway calls itself in Texas for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was Apple Tree.
No, you can use the same card. Like if you have a Randall's card or a Safeway card, you can like use them interchangeably.
Randall's
It's
like
the
the
same
only
company.
other grocery store here in Austin,
Yeah.
and there's only one that I've seen.
And if you're listening from the UK or Australia,
You don't care.
It's like a Woolworths.
It's like a Waitrose.
It's like a grocery store is what it's like.
Listen to you flexing
You know-
your
I
international
only,
knowledge.
I only know that because Gavin.
Gavin.
worked
I think
there
everybody
when he was
knows what a
kid.
generic grocery store is. I don't think we have to compare it to another brand of grocery store.
It's a place where you go. We have it in America, where it's a place where there's food, but it's not cooked. You just take it home and eat it.
You pay for
It's
it.
ready to cook.
I'm gonna read this.
It's like a farm with no dirt, just boxes.
Okay. This episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. You've probably tried Hulu.com. Hulu Plus is so much more. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. Hulu Plus lets you watch thousands of hit TV shows and movies in the living room or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. With Hulu Plus, you can watch your favorite TV shows like SNL, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Shark Tank, and Scandal. Watch every episode of shows like Lost, Law & Order SVU, Doctor Who, and Community. You can also check out exclusive content, including Hulu originals like The Wrong Mans and Behind the Mask, Hulu's new docuseries that takes you inside the world of sports mascots. You'll also get access to a collection of ad-free movies and kids content. For only $7.99 a month, catch up on current shows, binge on old favorites, or catch a great movie. Stream as many TV shows and movies as you want, wherever you want. Right now, you can try Hulu Plus for free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/patch. It's a special offer for our viewers and listeners. Make sure you use huluplus.com/patch. You see it right there on the screen to get the extended free trial, and they know that we sent you. That's huluplus.com/patch for your extended free 2-week trial. Much thanks to Hulu Plus for supporting fantastic content like The Patch. Smart people over there.
They are. They're very intelligent.
Forward
people at
thinking.
Hulu.
Forward thinking.
We don't have to shut the patch down for them to advertise with
We're
us.
going to be deleting the patch in 22 hours. We're sorry to report that. Please send your hate mail to Gus.
You spell that jack@achievementer.com.
You mentioned Shark Tank.
Okay.
How does Shark Tank work?
What do you mean?
Well,
That's
like
the thing where they just give money at people who have ideas, right?
Right.
right, but like
give
when you
money
go
at
on
people who
like
have ideas.
People's
Yeah,
Court
sure.
or Judge Judy, like you have to abide by the hearing, the verdict. You have
You
to
sign
you have
an
to abide by
agreement
it.
going in, yeah.
Yeah, even though this is a fucking kangaroo
Well, I think
court
she is actually a judge
on TV.
right?
You know, I think she was the highest paid TV personality.
Oh, yeah.
for a
I
couple
believe
years.
you are correct.
Yeah.
Nothing like old people at home looking for justice.
Yeah,
I mean,
and plus, I
that's
think
a
And then they've got
market.
their credit card and phone ready.
So I'm going to start
Advertising
my new iPhone game, Old Justice.
Old Justice.
It
not
looks
thinking-
exactly like Flappy Bird, but it's gonna.
old Justice,
There was a
Flappy Judge.
There was a Sesame Street version of Flappy Bird today called Flappy Bert. I'm not sure if you saw it.
Have you seen the Flappy Bird MMO that somebody made?
I heard about
Where
it. I
it's
haven't
like
played it yet.
80 people playing at one time, and you have to find your bird in there.
That sounds awful.
I have to admit, I have yet to play it. I've seen a lot of links from it, and then there's like anything. There's like Squishy Bird, which is where you play the pipes and you have to squish birds trying to get by. It's like people are making parody games, but I'm sure they're running ads on it
absolutely.
and making a lot of money as well. But Shark Tank, when they go on there must be some kind of waiver they sign. Like I feel like, and I don't know, I have nothing to base this on, but I feel like you would be putting your idea at risk. First of all, you're saying it on television.
Well, at that point, I think most people already have a product that they're working on and selling.
Right.
It's not idea. So if anything, they're probably looking for exposure. They're like, people are going to see this and they're going to look for my product.
But don't you imagine, like, when people are on reality shows, they get locked down for like a year afterwards, you know? I would imagine that somebody appears on that show, the producers of the show know that exposure is going to happen. So they're going to say that it's big exposure that takes place. And so anything you get, we're going to share in that. I would imagine that's part of it. I wouldn't be surprised.
I never thought about
I
that.
wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean, either someone's gonna throw money at them, or they'll. I assume they can not take the deal, right?
Correct.
Like so if they can either get what they want out of the show, and I imagine that they get it immediately.
But I also imagine they walk out of that room taking none of those deals or being turned down, and somebody else, like Gus is saying, calls them and offers them money, and they do inure some benefit from being on the show. And then I think the producers would be well aware of that, and also these very smart entrepreneurs who have made lots of money.
they're going to get their cut.
I would like to know what the actual deals
I
are.
love at the beginning of Shark Tank, they have that boilerplate. Like, this is a show. These people are soliciting offers. No offer is being solicited from the audience. These people are talking to the entrepreneurs you see on TV. It's like, are people really that stupid where they think, I want to give that guy money?
Or
and they're like trying to figure out how to
He was
get
looking
it.
right at me when he said it,
like, why
right through the TV.
Why do we need that boilerplate? It's so weird to me.
Because somebody will invest in something, it loses money, and then the people want their money back, and then they end up suing the producers of Shark Tank.
God.
Because it was on your show, and you said it was good. I heard Mark Cuban say it was a great idea. It wasn't a great idea. It caught on fire and killed 80 people in Topeka. Yeah, I can imagine that. So that's on Hulu Plus. Also, I saw The New Girl is on Hulu Plus. I want to point out that longtime friends of the podcast, the Live Prude girls. One half of them is now. I saw a Facebook update. She's going to be on the New Girl. Stevie's going to be on the New Girl.
Oh, really?
I have no
good for her.
idea in what capacity, but that's coming up.
Milana was in an AT&T commercial.
She was.
2. She's in 2 now.
2?
Yeah, she had her second one.
She's the supervisor.
And a BW.
Oh, I just gave a
Wings.
spoiler for that commercial. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, spoiler. There's some kind of deal at AT&T that's supposed to be great. You know, they might be biased in their own commercial. We don't know.
So I want to rewind a little bit here.
Go ahead.
Take us
Right,
back to
gaming.
video game stuff. So I have a couple of stories here about awards. You know, so I don't understand why we're still giving awards. So I know we just did ours a couple weeks ago, but I felt like even we were late. But, you know, DICE just did their award show last week. BAFTA announced their nominations. I think their award show's in a month. And South by Southwest Gaming Awards are also, I guess, during South by Southwest.
You know,
next
well,
month as well.
Sometimes the gaming awards that associate with events, though, are for games that show at the event. It's not necessarily for the industry at large.
Well, these in particular are industry at large.
The
2013.
DICE ones are.
The DICE, the BAFTA, and the South by Southwest.
Oh, South by's over the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to kind of ingest. You got to kind of sit on it and let it kind of focus in here and figure out what it's doing, you know? I don't know what my hands are doing.
Professional critic at work, ladies and gentlemen.
kinda-
It's all in here.
It's all in here.
Cheat.
It's like it's a bowel thing. You got to kind of work it out.
I'm being told that it's been reported that companies have to give 1% of their profits back to Shark Tank.
Is that it?
That's what
Who
I'm being
called
told.
it? Me.
Man, Steam's taking more than that. That's not too bad.
It's not bad.
But it's gross. I'd ask for gross.
But yeah, so lots of award shows coming up. So I think the South by Southwest ones, like the public gets to vote on that. I think you can go visit their site and.
And if
submit
anyone
votes
knows
for whatever you
gaming,
want.
it's the public.
The public definitely knows what they want. At the DICE Awards, I think Last of Us won every award it was nominated for, except for Best Gameplay Engineering, which went to GTA 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was crazy. They were unstoppable.
I mean, we did it first, but
We were definitely ahead of our time, and we called it.
Mm-hmm.
They were even up against Papers, Please in one category.
I
It
know,
was like
unbelievable, isn't it?
best. God, I forgot what it was. Gameplay environment.
You feel
sound so
necessary-
shocked.
Do you feel necessary to defend that choice
What?
that we were up for it? I was talking with Adam Baird today about State of Decay, which was up for our downloadable game of the year. It was probably our second choice. We
Yeah.
were debating between that,
Blood Dragon.
and Brothers.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. They're about to put out a DLC for State of Decay.
It's getting its second DLC.
Yeah. When did the first DLC for State of Decay come out?
That's on my list of things to talk about. I was
Okay.
like, new DLC.
Segued.
There's a second one.
Yeah, they put out one called Breakdown in
No, the first
November.
one, which is basically just like almost like a horde sorta for that game, where you just have to survive
As
to a
long
certain
as you
point.
can.
Yeah, and then you leave, and then you come back to the same place and start
so
over.
this new DLC is called Lifeline, and supposedly it's a new map.
Yeah, there's actually a new area.
Yeah, we all loved this game. How did we not talk about the fact that it had updated content?
They
Or
just-
we
did-
somehow
this is
missed
new.
it?
Did we even miss it on the patch? Did we not talk about it at
We've
all?
never
No, we've
talked-
talked about Breakdown before.
Have we?
Well, on the
I'm
one that I've been on, we
Not
have.
one I was on then.
Shit, I fucked
This
up
one
then.
and this one's new, so it's not something that's been around for a while. Like this just dropped.
Yeah,
pretty
there's no
recently.
launch date yet. It's in the internal testing process,
Yeah.
they said.
I don't know what's going on with DLC lately because I have been on the hunt trying to find the release dates for the Dead Rising 3 DLC. One of them came out yesterday. Just like,
Yeah.
here it is. Like, no, they never announced it. It's just, here it is. It's an update for you. It's the Fallen Angel DLC.
Yeah, I still haven't even played the first one. I got to go back and I'm getting way behind in DLC on that game.
Hey, I mean, that's the thing about zombies. They just come at you when you least expect them.
Is that true?
Yeah, sure.
Or like the DLC
How else do
is
they get you? They're not
outside
gonna
your
run you
house,
down.
banging on your door. But and also Walking Dead returned.
Yeah.
While we're talking about undead stuff, but we won't go off into TV stuff. You know what? I know you don't care about achievements, but one thing I'm frustrated by is the way they've handled achievements on Xbox One as they transition to the next generation. Is that when they put out the DLC, they put out that massive 15 gig update for Dead Rising 3 in preparation for the DLC, and sure enough, they just preloaded all the assets for the DLC. It's in there. The latest DLC that came out yesterday, Fallen Angel, 22 megs. That's all you have to download.
Are you sure you didn't pre-download like while your Xbox was in low power?
No, and I need to change my mindset. It's possible that there was another update, but
Yeah.
I didn't
read about it.
Of course you didn't, because you didn't read about the DLC coming out either. That's true. Yeah, because it just popped up one day. But when they did that, they also, what's the right word here? They also preloaded all the achievements through all the DLC. So my 95% game dropped to like 58%.
So even if you don't buy that DLC, you're still held up to
Not
its
only if I don't
achievements.
buy it, but also DLC that isn't out yet. and I can't complete the achievements, those achievements are sitting there saying your game's not done yet.
So it's like you have an itch that's under a chastity belt.
It's exactly right. You stole my metaphor. I had it right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Not at all. But yeah, so it's as a completionist like me and like Ray, another guy who plays Dead Rising 3.
Who has already completed it, by the way.
I know.
This morning he came in, it's like already done.
They're pretty short. the
Yeah, he said it's about 2-3 hours.
I loaded up.
But he still can't 100% it.
That's true. He can't.
Nope, he really can't. And see, that's what's keeping me from grinding out all my Dead Rising 3 zombie kills up to 340,000 is because what's the point? I might as well just go through all the DLC and get as many as I can and then grind after that.
That's a good strategy.
Because I can 100% it now.
Right. The weird thing to me about the jumping back to the State of Decay DLC, it seems like that's a really weird long tail for DLC for that game. Like, that game did so well. Why aren't they working on State of Decay 2? Why are we getting this little DLC bite?
I think they are. Remember that we we talked about how there was news that they signed a multi-year agreement with Microsoft to continue making games. So I assume that in addition to DLC, they have another project as well that they're working on.
That deal felt a lot like the relationship that Microsoft had with Twisted Pixel, where it's a smaller studio for a long time. They're developing specific content now for Xbox One, and I wouldn't be surprised if that turns into an acquisition at some point in time.
Because Microsoft did eventually acquire Twisted Pixel.
They did.
I wonder if what we're getting then, this DLC, is actually what they started on before they got that kind of deal. Like if they really rolled in to start working on maybe a 2 or further content, and then got that deal so they could devote more time and energy into it, and now we're getting that stuff they started on as just kind of a DLC.
Very possible.
Would you buy State of Decay 2 if it just added multiplayer, essentially? And a rudimentary campaign?
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, just a multiplayer
If they cleaned up just a little bit, too.
Yeah.
And multiplayer.
You know what's funny? It's that in my conversation with Adam today, I was going over how we were talking about it for Game of the Year, because obviously he didn't watch that episode. And I finally was able to put into words my feelings about State of Decay, which was it felt unbalanced. It was missing the balance polish, which is a weird thing to say about a single player only campaign, game where why would a single player game be unbalanced? But that's how it felt to me. It just felt unbalanced.
No, you definitely worry about balance.
Yeah.
In single player. I mean, I definitely agree with that. There was some zombies where it's like, fuck, I got to deal with this. And there's a lot you're just like, you don't care, just walk around.
The experience as a whole. Adam said he didn't make it all the way through the campaign because he got bogged down with searching every single house. And he just is like, I don't want to experience this anymore.
Is he too much of a completionist? Like he couldn't leave it alone?
That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what he said. He's an MMO guy, and like I'm surprised that Adam's not huge into EVE Online because he seems like he's big into spreadsheets.
He's played it.
He's an algorithm kind of a guy. Yeah.
I think he's it's hard to get in. It's that curve. It's like you have to invest so much time in order to get to a place where the game's fun.
What probably drove Adam away from EVE Online, because this is something really unique and interesting about Adam as a game player in these MMOs, he takes control of the economy of any MMO he plays. Like he will be like a godfather of the auction house. And I bet EVE Online was too much for him to handle in that regard.
It's a crazy economy.
Yeah.
I used to do that in World of Warcraft. I would mine and I'd pick one mineral, like mithril. I'd be like, all the mithril in this game is going to run through me. And anytime it was on the auction house, I'd buy it all, then relist it all at like 400% markup. Be like, no one could undercut me. I had it all.
That's what Adam would do. He would start controlling the prices of things, and he would see other people that would try and sell a bunch of that stuff, and he would get them working for him.
Yeah.
You people are crazy.
You can make so much money because everyone needs that resource. Yeah. And if you're the bottleneck, you can buy it cheaper and then remark it up. And then if the price comes up, then you put it up even more.
At what point do you go, this is fun? Is it like the less fun other people have, the more fun that you have?
But then you get so much money.
If Adam changed his focus from working here to doing the stock market, he would own the world.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's scary. Look at that's the when you play The Sims. That's how every iteration of The Sims ends for me. It's like if I spend half as much time on myself as I'm spending on this fucking little dopey dude with a green diamond over his head, I would be so much better off in life. I just finished something that kind of reminded me of that. Is like I've gotten really good with playing Minecraft lately with the kids and Ashley. Is that I decided to play a version of Minecraft I've never played before, which is hardcore mode, which is when you die, it deletes your world. And I went about 4.5 days of real time of playing the same world, like for a few hours a day, and I got killed. I got killed by
what did you in?
I finally went to the Nether and I got killed by a wither skeleton. I didn't know that wither would kill you. I thought it would just take you down to half a heart like poison. Turns out no.
On hardcore mode, I think you can be poisoned to death.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the other things that's different.
I guess I was gonna say live and learn, but I guess don't live
Die and learn.
Yeah. I had diamond horse armor for God's sake. I had it made.
Wow.
I just had to stay. Nope. Too much hubris. I was going for blaze rods.
Going to the nether.
Yep.
So I guess this week Naughty Dog announced that they're thinking about what to do next. They're thinking about new IP and trying to figure out what their next game is. They've already announced to do another Uncharted game. They announced that at the VGX, I think, right? Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what
Can I
comes
ask you a
next.
question?
How you top that.
Can I really honestly, what kind of a dopey announcement is that? We're starting to think about new IP. It's like
We might make a new game.
It's like, well, great, congratulations. You know, you're like my buddy I'll go to coffee with who always is working on I'm going to start a book. Okay, great. Let me know.
I'm an author. I might write a new book.
The difference
I'm
is
thinking about it.
This would be like someone who's established saying that, like George R. R. Martin going, "Yeah, I'm thinking about a new book." Okay, I'd be excited about that. It's not your dopey friend who hasn't written a book saying he's going to write a book.
What do I do with that information? I stay excited for 4 fucking years?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but it's like, is that an announcement you need to make? Or is that something like they overheard because they sat at the wrong table at the dice buffet? And then somebody reported on that.
Could be. It's news. I'm
Well,
excited.
boy.
Not everything's an announcement.
So
That's all I'm saying.
they're gonna throw their hat in the rink with Bungie, who now saying they're gonna have the highest selling new IP of any game ever, right? With Destiny.
Once again, what kind of announcement is
Yeah.
that? It's like that goes along the lines, and I get that they have pre-sales data now that they can say that Destiny is going to be the biggest selling new IP in history. Activision saying this, but that to me goes along with Ubisoft saying Watch Dogs is going to be our next 10-year franchise. It's like, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know that? It's like I get that there's raw data that they can extrapolate, but I don't think could they have possibly pre-ordered enough now to where they've outsold, or they're just saying they're gonna?
I mean, that's the thing too, is and a lot of people mistook the statement originally in that they thought he was saying that Destiny itself was going to be the highest grossing game ever, but his actual statement was that the IP was going to be the highest grossing thing ever, which means
The quote is, Destiny will become the best-selling new video game IP in history.
there you go, meaning legacy, not just necessarily single
No,
title.
that's not the way that I read that.
No?
The way I interpret that is that Destiny, what you want to call it, Destiny 1 or Destiny 2014,
Prime.
the version that's coming out this year, that will sell as a new title better than any other new IP has sold in history. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
I can, honestly, I can see how he might be thinking that will happen.
like it'll sell better than the original Halo. It'll sell better than the original Call of Duty, than the
Last of Us.
original Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed. Yeah, like any new IP, like the first iteration, it'll sell better than any of those ever in history.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of but what's a new? I mean, like Doom and Tetris they were new IP, and those continue to sell.
I mean, can they stack up against Flappy Bird numbers though?
can they? 50K a day. Good
There you
luck.
go.
Did you read the numbers on the Facebook hacker with Clash of Clans?
That's the next thing I was going to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
So one of the things we talked about before on the RT podcast was about how we always got that fucking Clash of Clans ad in Flappy Bird, and we knew that they at least had money to spend on that.
Yeah, if
So-
Flappy Bird was making 50K a day, 80% of the ads were for Clash of Clans. That means about 40K a day was being spent by Clash of Clans a day. So that to me said there were bigger numbers.
Is there like a pyramid scheme going on here? Like, do you go into Flappy Bird and then you get an ad for Clash of Clans, and you go into Clash of Clans? Is there an ad that pops up on top of that for
It's
another
like some
game?
kind of collusion.
Yeah.
So there were two.
I will say Clash of Clans is the only thing, and I've never played the game and I can't speak to it. That's the only thing I've ever had on my mobile phone that auto pops an ad, and I don't like that. And it's the only game where I've been looking at something on my phone, and all of a sudden I'm in the iTunes store and I'm looking at the Clash of Clans thing. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah,
I
fucking
hate that. I hate that.
I get that on the mobile ImageGur site sometimes.
Oh, do you?
It redirects me to the App Store.
For what?
It might be Clash of Clans.
I think
Yeah.
I've had Candy Crush do that to me. I might have.
I might have had Candy Crush do it to me as well.
So
Yeah.
there were two different stories about speculating about their income. The one you saw was a Facebook hacker who tried to extrapolate their revenue.
Well, I didn't read the article. I admit I just read the headline. How does a Facebook hacker find out their revenue?
I didn't read that
He
story.
hacked the Facebooks.
The other story was that
read a DM.
that the company Supercell reported their earnings of $892 million in revenue for last year, and someone said that they were earning about $654,000 a day in Clash of Clans microtransactions.
God damn.
So that's some serious money. So yeah, they have, as far as I know, they have two different products. Yeah, they only have two different games: Clash of Clans and another one which is like a virtual farm called Heyday. And then their third game is coming out called Boom Beach. Comes out next month.
Which, it's funny that there's a game like this that's doing so much money in microtransactions on the back of the fact that everybody is just shitting on EA over Dungeon Keeper right now.
Yeah, they're really
which is
hammering
well
them.
deserved, I think. But I mean, that's this is another game. Well, obviously, this game I haven't played it. I'm sure their microtransaction system must be much better than what EA's doing. But it's funny that some microtransaction implementations can really have a different result.
So I hadn't read this part of the article until right now. I guess I missed it somehow. But apparently, last October, Supercell, 51% of Supercell was acquired by SoftBank, which is a Japanese mobile phone company. SoftBank paid $3 billion for 51% of Supercell.
Really?
So, I mean, this is just, 51% is a majority stake, but it's half the company for $3 billion. They made 2 games.
All right, guys, I have an idea. What we're going to do, we're going to go collect a bunch of students making student games. We're going to sell them as mobile games, and we're going to pay them nothing and keep all the profits.
Brilliant.
New game studio.
The games have to be free, though.
Sure, why not?
Apparently, that's the thing.
We'll serve them up with ads on them.
What did they pay for Draw Something?
It was like $800 million, I think.
And that game fell off so fast.
Yeah, they bought it after it had peaked. It was on the way down, and they bought it.
Yeah.
And they ended up dissolving that studio. That was OMG Pop.
Yeah, in June of 2013, OMG Pop, Zynga shuts down Draw Something creator OMG Pop after spending $200 million to acquire it, the one app, basically. Wow. Move today will affect every part of the San Francisco social gaming company and cut $80 million in staff costs. This is a 2-year-old or a year-old story at this point, but yeah, it's just crazy. It's like it's weird to see these things how they end up turning out sometimes.
Yeah, that was I couldn't believe that acquisition when that happened because I felt like Draw Something had gotten so popular, and by that point, everyone I knew that was playing it was no longer playing it. But I guess sometimes I'm out of touch with that. Like sometimes, there's a bigger market that I don't realize that continues to play games like that. But I was definitely right about that one, Zynga. That was free. Here, I'm going to read this. I want to remind everyone that this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by ProFlowers. Valentine's Day is this week. It's Friday, actually. When she says she doesn't need flowers, she means you better get flowers. Get a dozen long-stem assorted roses with a premium vase and gourmet chocolates for $29.99, or double the roses. That's 2 dozen long-stem roses and the premium vase and chocolates for just $9.99 more. You won't find a deal this good anywhere else this week. ProFlowers is quick, easy, and delivery on Valentine's Day is guaranteed. Can't beat the price or the convenience. You can schedule a delivery date and just check it off your list. ProFlowers are guaranteed to last 7 days or more, or your money back. We have some you can't see them. We have ProFlowers. We used them on the RT podcast.
Yeah, they're right there.
They're
I'm
still
covering
fresh.
them up with my arm right now. See?
We got them last Friday. They're still fine. And it's been cold in here too. So here's the only way to get this Valentine's Day deal: a dozen long stem assorted roses with a premium vase and chocolates for $29.99, or double the roses for just $9.99 more. Go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the top right corner, and type in teeth. It's proflowers.com. Click on the microphone and type in teeth. Order today. This deal is only around while supplies last, and Valentine's Day is this Friday. This is your last warning. Do it.
Wow, that was brutal.
People got to do it.
I mean, do it.
Fucking
Do it
it
now.
It's better to hear it from Gus today than your significant other on Monday.
In the middle of that
True.
ad read, I accidentally hit the home button on the iPad.
Monday
and
being the
I
day she
freaked
lets
the
you
fuck
back
out.
in the house.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, I'm
you
okay.
really held it together. I'm really proud of you.
I did not stumble.
Carried right on through.
So in other news, Twitch's parent company, Justin.tv, has formally changed their name to Twitch. So I guess this Justin TV site, existed doing just general video streaming for a couple of years.
Yep.
And then Twitch was their gaming brand.
Right.
And I guess Twitch now has 1 million broadcasters per month. And I guess it's probably doing so much traffic that now the whole company is called Twitch. It's like a weird
Yeah, no, it's
shell
awesome.
game
It's like your
reshuffling.
leg took over the rest of your body, and now your whole body's called the leg. Yep.
Ryan Haywood, ladies
There
and
you go.
gentlemen.
Anybody can use that. I'm willing to let that be
Make sure you
licensed.
stream at theleg.com.
So less than then they talked about streaming in the PS4. Less than 2 months after the console launch, 20% of Twitch broadcasters are PS4 owners.
Of course they are, because that's the one that's working right now.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's automatically with the bot button.
Yeah, 200,000 of their 1 million broadcasters per month then are PS4 people.
Yeah. I remember Microsoft had an interesting statement when they were talking about the lack of integrated streaming with Twitch. Even though they announced the partnership at the launch event, 83, the announcement event, they didn't have the push button streaming the way that PS4 does. But their comment that they made was, of course you can stream on Twitch. You just hook up to your recording device, just like you always have, which is a shot at PS4 and their,
The HDCP.
their HTCP and all that stuff.
Still not working, by the way. Yeah, we still don't have an HTCP stripped patch for PS4.
Well, people keep saying like it's going to come, but you never know. You never know. Here we are, February. We're supposed to be here in December. But likewise, Xbox was going to have Twitch streaming, and it was going to be big part of the experience. Didn't have it at launch.
Pushed, yep.
When are they going to have it? And then they're going to have this big update. I didn't read anything about Twitch in the update notes. And then now they pushed that whole thing back a little bit.
Well, they just pushed. There was one that was supposed to come out yesterday that got pushed to later
next
this
week.
Oh, is it now next week?
Yeah,
it was supposed to be later this week.
I believe it's next week now.
They pushed it again.
But then they announced they're making a stereo headset.
That's true.
That was like how they appeased.
And an adapter.
Yeah, which they do have a headset with the Xbox One. If you don't have one, they have a traditional Microsoft headset, which is one ear, but they're making a stereo headset.
Yeah, and an adapter, I think, so you can use your own headset.
And an adapter so you can use your own headset.
Oh, nice.
I see,
Yeah.
okay.
So it would allow for third-party headsets
Let's
and
get our information straight.
other headsets that you might have that you would like.
Man, that Xbox, such an unsuccessful thing. We should really just get rid of that if you're Microsoft, right?
You hear,
Oh, man.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
referencing
referencing the story.
the investors? Yeah. Do you have that in your notes?
Yeah, you sent it, so I didn't pull it up. But it was
yeah.
two different investors who said that Microsoft should focus on core business of software as a service and eliminate Bing and the Xbox division.
And Surface.
And Surface.
And Surface, that's correct.
It's basically what the investors were saying was that they wanted Microsoft to focus on enterprise and want to essentially abandon all their consumer-facing, public-facing endeavors.
the device,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Get rid of
But
any
Windows Phone
devices.
was not in there. I guess, did they consider Windows Phone to be an enterprise level?
I wonder if that's already off on its own separate.
No.
No? You don't think so?
No, because they acquired Nokia.
That's
You know what it is? Although with Surface would as well. I would just imagine that maybe that falls under OS.
Or maybe Surface just subsumes the phone system as well.
Does it?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's all, the Surface is kind of a unified thing, so.
Yeah, the one experience. There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's just investors trying to see what they can get away with while Microsoft is in transition, CEO-wise.
I saw one of those, and it was one of the people or one of the groups that's protesting this, and I forget the name of it, but it's basically a hedge fund. And they bought into Microsoft at 0.8%, which, granted, of Microsoft, that's still a lot of money, but that was enough to get you on the board. And they're one of the ones making a lot of stink about this. It's like 0.8. That's like responding. If you responded to 0.8% of YouTube comments, you would radically destroy your show.
Yeah.
You would delete your game from the iTunes store.
You would delete your life,
and Android,
basically.
sorry. Yeah.
But
I was just going to say about this whole thing. One of the CEO candidates who was up, that was one of the things that he said as well. He would talk about spinning off Xbox. Now, and I don't know if they're not going to shut it off, but they would probably spin it off into its own entity. And we talked about it on the podcast on Monday. Do you think Xbox could survive on its own right now? Is it at that point?
Well, I assume that, would they spin the game studio with it too?
That's a good question.
Because
I would
they
assume
seem
so.
like they're holding on to software, but they're trying to get rid of hardware.
Yeah, but that's not enterprise level.
Yeah.
You know?
I would
That's
assume it would all go together. Microsoft
Yeah.
Game Studio would be the hardware and
I don't know.
software division.
I'm curious if has Xbox been profitable yet? I know the 360 got to profitability, right?
Yeah, the
But,
360 eventually you got there. So I think the one would be. My argument was that it would. It would be able to stand on its own. It wouldn't be quite as dominant, I don't think, without all that muscle behind it.
We're living in a world where Twitch operates at Twitter operates at a loss every day.
God, I don't believe that.
And
Yeah.
still functioning.
And I think that's short-sighted. I think that the Xbox is definitely a growth vector for them and is a way for them to get into the living room and establish themselves as more than just a software company. When investors deal with companies, the big thing they always look at is growth. How is the company going to grow? What's the additional revenue coming from? Cutting off this growth potential, I think, is super short-sighted. I disagree with that.
I wonder
sentiment.
almost if they're just trying to excise everything that really led to that Metro UI. That's the products that really led them down that path of that whole tiled interface thing, which was a terrible idea.
But it also makes me think of IBM did something similar years ago when they shed their personal computer division and they became mainly, a consulting and server firm. So they shed the personal computer division, they shed their laptop division, and recently they just shed their low-end server, the 32-bit servers, to Lenovo as well. So they're still kind of doing that, and that seems to have worked for them. So I don't know. Maybe there's
Did
argument
Oracle
something to be
ever
said for
have
that.
any public products?
Oracle,
I used to see way more advertisements. For Oracle.
bought Sun, so I believe they have like Oracle branded servers you can run their software on. So I think that's all. But as far as consumer level, no, I don't believe it was ever anything consumer level.
So it may seem pretty drastic move to most people that would watch this podcast or listen to it, that Microsoft might drop the Xbox potentially. But I mean, historically, companies do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And focusing on B2B and enterprises a good strategy sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think they will. There's just a couple of loud, small, squeaky wheels, I think, that are making noise about it.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think that the Mac OS has made the cuts into Windows. I think a couple years ago it was big, and I think it's kind of losing steam.
I think these tablets have destroyed that. Tablets have killed, desktop and full operating system computers.
Really? You think
Yeah.
so?
I mean,
Maybe I'm just biased.
PC sales and computer sales are down while tablets continue to cannibalize it. If you look at mobile, like tablet and phone traffic, using the internet, it's way up, and then you can just see desktops nosediving.
You know what I'm drawing comparisons to here? When my kids were Eli's age, they had little Fisher-Price laptops, and now he has a Fisher-Price
I have an iPad wrapped in Fisher Price.
That's pretty funny. Like my kids had like a fake little Fisher-Price laptop.
By the way, thanks, Mom, for letting my son steal my iPad.
It's not even the mini. You should give him a little. Do they have a separate case for the mini?
I don't know. That's a good question.
One of the other bits of news that I read was that I guess now Call of Duty is a 3 studio development.
Yep.
And this year's Call of Duty is going to be primarily developed by Sledgehammer Games, who co-developed Modern Warfare 3 with Infinity Ward when all the shit went down with the founders leaving.
Couldn't keep all this stuff straight anymore.
Right. So now it's Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer.
Okay.
So we got Sledgehammer this year, which means Treyarch was supposed to have been this year, correct? No. What was the last one? Ghost? That was Infinity Ward.
Yes.
So Treyarch was supposed to have been this year. So now we got Sledgehammer. Next year will be Treyarch, and then Infinity Ward after that.
I wonder what the new hook will be.
Well, it gives them more time to develop games, right?
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
I mean, but Infinity Ward always did the zombies things, right? And then
No, that was Treyarch.
Sorry, Treyarch did the zombies, and then Infinity Ward was the one that always had that like training level thing at the beginning, and usually the little thing at the end, like Mile High Club.
Right.
So I wonder what the third studio, if they're going to have their own
What
little
their
hook.
signature is?
Yeah.
Microtransactions. I'm just going to guess. Unannounced DLC. But then also that makes you have to point out that Respawn Entertainment, which was the original guys at Infinity Ward that then left, are now about to put out Titanfall. In fact, they just put up the beta signups for Titanfall just last night.
Yeah, go. You can sign up. It's like titanfall.com/beta.
What are you doing here? Yeah, go
Yeah,
sign
really.
up. The one other thing we talked about, we didn't really predict it, but we talked about was if you were putting out Titanfall right now, and this is going to be a system seller for the Xbox One, probably one of the first system sellers of this entire generation, or arguably at least, would you put out Titanfall at the same time for the Xbox One and the Xbox 360? And I said I would probably give it a little bit of a window, and they've given it now, 2 weeks?
2 weeks. We drew the comparison to Spartan Assault. They did the same thing.
Right.
Spartan Assault had 2 weeks head start on the Xbox One and then came out on the 360 as well.
We don't know if they listen to the patch, but we can assume that they probably do.
That's a freebie, Respawn. The next one's going to cost you.
I'm pretty sure the only way they can get away with that in this case, though, is because if that title was going to PlayStation as well, you'd see it on both immediately. Like, there's no way they would hold that title.
Yeah.
If there was that kind of competition.
It's weird when they first made the announcement that it was this other studio is making the Xbox 360 version. In the back of my head, I thought that's weird. Why haven't they said anything about that until now? And then now they're like, oh yeah, remember that studio we told you about? They're taking 2 weeks longer. Sorry.
Oh, those guys are so slow.
It's like,
man.
yeah, Respawn, we're awesome. Those guys, they suck.
Don't worry
it's
about
kind
it,
of like kind of shoving them under the bus a little.
You're gonna get your game. Don't worry. We're good for it.
Yeah. So that's coming out soon, March 11th. That's less than a month away now. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited about that. State of Decay, we talked about that. Dead
World of
Rising
Tanks
3.
is out today for the 360.
World of Tanks.
It is.
According to Twitter.
World of Tanks.
Weird.
I've played that game on the PC extensively.
Have you really?
Yes, I love that game.
You and I used to play World War II online together.
Oh yeah.
And we used to love driving the tanks net, but I've never played World of Tanks.
It's really, really good, really robust. Do you know? I should find out. I haven't played it on the 360 yet. I should find out if the tanks I've unlocked on the PC version are usable in the Xbox 360 version.
That's a good question.
Because if so, I'll fucking jump on that. I'll destroy some bitches right now. So yeah, it's like a tiered system where you have to unlock different levels of tanks and different types of upgrades in each individual tank. It's fun.
I don't like that you're ahead of me in tanks. I just learned something too. This is now the second time that you've done this.
Uh-oh, what?
I learned that Gus has started playing a game that I've talked about. It's an iPhone game that I have, the geography game. And I mention it a lot. Every time I mention it, people think it's like a sponsored thing. It's not. I just like this thing a lot. But I learned that you started playing it in secret.
Yeah.
So that I wouldn't get too far ahead of you. And you did the same with something else.
It was
Was it a social media?
Street Pass.
Street Pass. Yeah, so it's like when I start doing something, now you have this like thing you have to keep secret. I would actually like to know that you're doing this stuff. Are you embarrassed by your lower
level
score?
63.
You're level 63. Well,
You're
you
like
should be embarrassed.
150.
I'm like 260.
God damn. See, that's why. I was like, I was going to get to 100 and then tell you I was playing.
Why? Come on, why?
No, now some like level 0 bitch.
What am I going to do? Come grief you?
Based on the RT Live videos I've seen,
Yeah,
very possible.
That's a good point. Yeah. I'll come unlock your whole neighborhood. Basically, then send it to you. Going, ha ha ha. Do you have Culver Lane?
Yeah. So
So just so you know, updated what I'm going to be playing, so you can like get ahead. I will be playing Goat Simulator in the next
Goat
week.
Simulator.
So I take. I don't know what to say. I'm a little put off by the name Goat Simulator
Just Goat
because
Simulator.
I've never been chased by a goat waving an axe around with its tongue.
Well,
That's not a very accurate goat simulation.
Clearly, you've never been to Spain. No, wait, that's bull. Sorry.
It looks like a crazy, stupid game.
Dude, it looks like a goat simulator. What do you expect a goat
You
simulator to
play.
look like?
You could be a trash can in that game, and it wouldn't matter. There's nothing special about you being a goat.
Trash can simulator
that you have a
coming
sticky
2016.
I love it. Somebody can like. It's hard to make a game. It is not something you just like sit there and go, Goat Simulator, publish. I mean, so a team of people had to work on this, and they're like, every Monday they must have gone like, this is still funny, right? this is still a good idea to make this.
No, it was an engine test for something else,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Like,
a
wasn't-
joke.
Yeah.
And then the demand, the reaction was so positive. They're like, all right, great. I guess we'll make it.
I'm totally gonna play Goat Simulator. When games like this came out, I'm so happy I'm not Michael Jones, because his every piece of social media for him is like, do a rage quitting Goat Simulator. That's how I heard about Flappy Bird, is people wouldn't stop asking Michael to make a rage quit in Flappy Bird, which I can't even imagine. Him doing.
I get upset playing Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
I
don't want to say anything because wait.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
I heard him screaming outside the office this morning. I parked my car, got out of my car, and I could hear him screaming.
Yep.
From inside his office. So I guess the 2013 NPD U.S. video game sales numbers came out. There were $15.39 billion of games sold in the U.S. in 2013.
That's it? I thought it was bigger than that.
That's
now.
just the U.S.
Just the U.S.
15
I
billion.
think
Hold on.
and that's just stuff the NPD tracks, which may not be like all mobile games and stuff like that. I think if you take the entire gaming industry, mobile, and the entire world and add it all together, it's $100 billion a year industry.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
That balloons up very quickly.
Like the big. I remember when I crossed over the film industry, and the film industry is right in that range. Or excuse me, that range for the $15 billion place. But yeah, so they can accumulate that stuff any possible way they can. And if you look at something like TV industry has to be fucking enormous for all the money that all the channels generate across all the different platforms. I mean, now it's like the long tail on all this stuff is crazy. Like we were talking about Activision and Destiny saying it's going to be the biggest new IP. Well, shit, like I said, Tetris was a new IP at some point, and it's still selling to this day. That original version, they continue to sell and sell and sell. Or Doom, if you want to go back to that. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. So the NPD report concludes that 36% of players over the age of 13 played games acquired digitally, showing a rise in prominence in digital acquired games amongst all segments of players.
So what do we can do with this information? I mean, do we need to still tell people that video games are a part of mainstream culture at this point? We're not proving that anymore.
No,
right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's just for bragging rights. People want to know who sold more, who sold what.
And listen, call me crazy. I mean, I would think that number in U.S. would be higher alone just because of mobile in the last year.
Yeah.
Does that include microtransactions? Is it just
Supposedly.
I mean, honestly, that's
I have a hard time believing that number.
That's what that number is for, right? Is just telling money where to go. That's how much money they brought in. So this is where to put so other people know where to put their money. Is let's invest in this video game thing these kids are doing.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, you'll see decks that people put up going, well, here's why this is a good investment, because this is a $15 billion a year industry. And if we can get just 1% market share.
you sound like an episode of Shark Tank.
Yeah, I know, right?
You sound like an episode of Shark Tank. So, dumbest story of the week. This seems like an April Fool's joke because it takes effect April 1st. Namco Bandai is changing its name to Bandai Namco, effective April 1st.
I mean, that's like your leg taking over your body.
Yeah, it's always the same. I was thinking the same thing. It's like the Twitch Justin TV thing.
Pretty much.
So they're keeping the same logo and everything. They're just swapping the order of the two names or the two words.
Was there any justification given for that?
Plans to see the change.
Well, clearly Namco is the much more recognized part of the title. So they need to have that
Bandai's
first.
going to the top, isn't it? Or what's going to the top?
Well, clearly
Bandai's going to the top.
Bandai is the much more recognized part of the
There you go,
title,
there
so
you
it needs
go.
to go to the top.
You misspoke just a moment ago, clearly.
The publisher was
There's an echo. It's not. Yeah.
The publisher was a result of a merger between Namco and Bandai in September 2005. The umbrella company's logo seen above, which is now Bandai Namco, will be used for all the publisher's product going forward. Up until this point, Namco Bandai uses traditional individual Namco and Bandai logos on some of its games.
So there's like one leftover executive that's just been waiting. Like he's been biding his time, just waiting to take over the top
Like
spot
one
in the
Bandai
logo.
executive was like, I'm going to get
I'm
us back
still
on
here.
top.
Mr. Bandai is like hanging out. And listen, I mean, it's like I was with him all the way through the acquisition and everything, but switching the names, that's just sellout move. I can't abide that. That's just,
Where's the respect? They should just delete it off the App Store and get rid of it. Fuck it. Last story I want to cover of the week. Wolf Among Us Episode 2 is out. I haven't played it yet.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky, they were affected by a big season pass issue on the Xbox 360, which apparently didn't affect anyone on Steam, which is fortunate for me because I played the game on PC. So I'm gonna check it out as soon as I finish Assassin's Creed 4.
Proud of you.
It's on my list of things to do. I've been playing a lot of PC games lately.
You should.
I've been doing the
PC
same.
Renaissance.
I admit that the new generation of consoles has brought me back to PC gaming.
There's been a lack of compelling console titles because of the new hardware launch, I think.
Yep.
So since there's nothing really to play there, it's like,
We're still in the dead zone.
PC.
Happened with 362, where there's just not at launch. You
But
got
stuff
these
is coming
titles
out
and
on
then nothing. for a
Stuff's
while.
coming out on the 360. I mean,
That's true.
State of Decay does not have an Xbox One version of itself
True.
yet, and we're talking about DLC that's coming out. You know, it seems like the only thing that I ever really talk about is Infamous, Titanfall, and Dead Rising 3 updates. Those are the only things that I.
And that's all
talk
you'll get
about.
until after March.
And a coming dashboard update. You know,
And yeah,
at some
Watch
point.
Dogs will come at some point, but that'll also be on old
if
hardware as well.
Ubisoft is still in business by the time that happens.
If they have a trademark or they don't have a trademark,
they did get it back.
Yeah, maybe some prankster will, write to corporate and take away all of Ubisoft shares
Like,
next.
some prankster emailed us and told us the game was canceled, so we stopped working on it. We deleted it.
now we have to call it Silent Cats.
There's something else I sent out that I would like to talk about. I'm trying to think what it was. We talked about the Facebook hacker. We talked about the Goat Simulator. Oh, can we really quickly just mention the Candy Swipe thing?
Oh,
because
right.
in the Candy Crush
Right.
saga of them filing for the trademark, the guys who make Candy Swipe, which according to them, they put up this
It's like Guy,
announcement
right?
on their
Yeah.
page, on their website, where their game came out in 2010, Candy Crush Saga came out in 2012. Now they're being told they have to abandon their own registered trademark for Candy Swipe, not because Candy Crush Saga is a stronger trademark than theirs. They actually objected to Candy Crush's trademark. They were like the one people that could do it. And so according to that story on there, which was, dude, that was a loaded story.
Oh, yeah.
You should absolutely read
It's
it.
very emotionally loaded.
Yeah, we'll link it in the link.
It
dump.
is designed to
notes.
hurt.
It is damaging.
And there's no reason he shouldn't have gone for hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what they did, apparently, what King did, with the owners of Candy Crush Saga, was they bought a candy game that predated Candy Swipe. So they went out and bought a game, and it's now part of their catalog that predates them. So they say, oh, we have candy titles that predate Candy Swipe. So yeah.
Yeah,
F
fuck
'em.
off.
F them. Wow.
Awful.
What? I mean,
You got to be a fucking asshole to pull a move like that.
you just think like there's somebody paying attention to this stuff who goes, clearly you guys are just fucking doing this for that. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
But who's that person with the objective sensibility that's going to do that?
Honestly, like, King is kind of shitty, comes off looking really shitty in this whole thing. They're probably just doing exactly what their lawyers are telling them to do. It's like, oh, you want this trademark? Okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. The real problem here is the fucking trademark office that's letting someone try to trademark candy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where's
That's the
where's
root of
that
the problem.
person who's the judge or whoever the authority is that's
Yeah.
going to look at this and go, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, King, it's shitty that they're not paying attention to what they're doing to these companies, but they're probably just doing exactly what they're told to do.
This guy said that he has been quietly battling this for a year, and he finally was like, look, I just got to say this, because even when all the press was coming out, he didn't say anything. He was just quietly going about the normal objection, the appeal process, or whatever you want to call it. And then finally he's like, you know what, fuck, I can look, public opinion, look at this. This is what's going on with
Yeah,
me.
he gets fucked anyway.
Yeah.
He's like, what's the point?
Yeah. So I don't know, somebody knows that's going on. And now when it comes out, King will go, oh, wow, that's really terrible.
They'll do what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't mean to do that. Our lawyers went out of control.
Yeah,
Those
they told us
guys.
what we had
You
to
remember
do.
we said on the podcast that what were they going to say about when it came out? They're going to say we have to defend our trademark because that's what we have to do. Sure enough, they said that the next day. You know, it's like, well, then don't. Here's a great idea. Don't trademark the word candy. Just don't do it. You get a registered trademark for your game. You
Also,
know?
make up your own game. That's a good thing.
That's the craziest part of this is that like you can see where they like took, I can't say that, but I mean, it seems very derivative unto itself, and they're using the defense that they don't want to have derivative games made on their thing. It's like, come on.
Absolute bullshit.
And they even acknowledged that one of their games that they made in the past that it seemed very much like another game, and that was just a fluke. It's like it's a classic example of the valuable thing I've learned, which is we judge other people by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions. And that's what a lot of people do. And it's like, okay, well, you guys have done this in the past. Like, yeah, but that wasn't our intention. We're good guys.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. But then everyone else gets judged by their actions, but you get judged by your intentions.
Yeah.
So anyway, go read it. It is definitely meant to strike at your heartstrings.
One last thing I did want to mention, I forgot about. We talked about this on the RT podcast, was the Kickstarter for the Outer Lands documentary.
Badass.
They only have 66 hours to go. It's a documentary about the people and culture involved with video games, as well as people who collect old games and maintain machines that can still run old software and maintain like old hardware, like arcade cabinets and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if it gets funded, it'll be a 6-part documentary series. When we talked about it on Monday, they were at 170,000. They're at 187 now of a 210 goal. So they need $23,000 to get there in the next 66 hours. You should check it out if it's something you'd be interested in. Back it. It seems really cool. They have a great trailer.
And listen, Kickstarters for games do very well. Like Star Citizen, like the Kickstarter launched an even bigger crowdfunding campaign. The Broken Age did really well on Kickstarter as well. This thing's trying to raise $210,000. And they're trying to preserve games that have existed, not like the culture of video games and the history of it. It's a really important thing. And so if you can find a way to support this, or go look at they have a really good pitch piece for it on Kickstarter. You should absolutely watch it and see if it's something you want to support.
Yeah, I supported it myself. I've only ever supported like 3 things, I think, and this is one of them.
You shithead. I should go look at my number before I say that.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. We're wrapping on our very long edition of the Patch this week. I want to thank you all. We'll be back next Monday with another episode of RT Podcast. Next Wednesday with another episode of the Patch. Bye.
Bye.